My name is Hilary Giovale, and I'm descended from Celtic, Germanic, and Nordic peoples. I live next to a sacred mountain of kinship on Dene, Hopi, Havasupai, Apache, and Pueblo land. The place where I live is colonially known as Flagstaff, Arizona. My seventh great-grandfather, Archibald McFadder, immigrated to North Carolina from Argyllshire, Scotland in 1739. His grandson, William Alexander McFadder, received an inheritance from a family friend. The inheritance included an enslaved man named Scipio, $300 to purchase an enslaved woman, and a North Carolina plantation. In 1819, Alexander McFadder walked from North Carolina to Mississippi. He settled in Claiborne County with his family. In 1833, just a few years after the Trail of Tears began, he received a 79-acre land grant on what may have been Choctaw land. The land grant was signed by Andrew Jackson. When Alexander died in 1843, his son, John Washington McFadder, administered the estate. The children fell into dispute, and surviving court records list enslaved people amongst his property. Their names are Trace, Ben, Willis, John, Elvira, Isaac, Eliza, and John. I believe that they were auctioned off to settle the estate, but I don't know what happened to them after that. I learned of this history when I was 40 years old, on the last night of 2015. I was visiting my parents, and my mother had given me a book of family genealogy to look through. When I first opened the book, the information about the land grant was staring back at me. I started shaking and felt like I was going to throw up. I didn't know our people had been here for so long. My ancestors placed enslaved people in the same category as their livestock, furniture, and farm equipment. But I see Trace, Ben, Willis, John, Elvira, Isaac, Eliza, and John as dignified human beings. I felt deep shame when I saw their names with dollar amounts attached. I wanted to run and hide, but something told me to face my family's history and be transparent. I chose to pay attention to that inner voice. Many of our European ancestors felt entitled to free land that was being ruthlessly stolen from the indigenous peoples of this continent, as well as the brutally stolen lives and labor of African peoples. I was deeply disturbed that this pattern had been documented in my family, but to my knowledge, no one had ever spoken of it or tried to make amends for it. In the beginning, I longed to find the descendants of the people my ancestors enslaved and apologize to them. Through genealogical research, no surviving descendants have been found. For the last 7 years, I've been doing an internal excavation of my own denial, shame, and grief. I've had to let go of my assumed white innocence and accept that my family is part of a legacy of racial oppression and dominance. My parents, children, husband, and I are in inquiry about how we can be of service, and I've written a book to share my story. My family has committed to a reparations plan to return resources and power. For example, we contribute to Southern Black-led organizations that provide guaranteed income, healing and retreat space, maternal health support, and zero-interest loans to Black farmers. We also support Indigenous-led land-back projects and cultural revitalization to redress our ancestors' history of profiting from genocide and stolen land. Reparations are about much more than money, though. For me, they are a profound commitment to truth and healing. Reparations rely on building bridges toward trusting relationships over time. Through reparations, I'm learning to love and forgive my ancestors and myself. I think it's going to take humility and persistence over many generations to repair the founding harms of the United States. I hope that we, the present generations, can help bend the arc in that direction.